It's in the name.
Merry Christmas and welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. On today's episode, we are going to be looking at a few of our favorite things, and we'll get to that after these messages.
This episode of the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast is brought to you by Heritage Christian University. The mission of Heritage Christian University is simple. We aim to advance the churches of Christ by equipping servants through undergraduate and graduate programs. HCU produces effective communicators of the gospel, focusing on evangelism and a commitment to Scripture. Heritage Christian University offers the following degrees: Associate of Arts in Biblical Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Studies, Master of Arts, Master of Ministry, and a Master of Divinity. HCU is accredited by the Association for Biblical Higher Education. Since 1968, Heritage Christian University has offered affordable degrees in biblical studies, allowing graduates to thrive in their ministries without the burden of loan debt. For the spring 2023 semester, HCU is offering full tuition scholarships for all graduate-level students. For more information about Heritage Christian University, visit www.hcu.edu. I'm Travis Creasy. That's All-Pro Counselor Ben Hayes.
How's it going? I hope everybody is having a very Merry Christmas and soon to be Happy New Year.
And my awesome better half that really does all of the Christmas stuff, and I just get to show up and smile and try to stay out of the way. The one, the only, my co-author in crime, Whitney Creasy.
Hey, everybody.
And we, as Ben mentioned, are here to talk about a few of our favorite things, especially about the holidays. And, of course, I guess the earliest memory of the song for me, I think it was Lori Morgan singing the song. And then by the time I got to be a teenager, there was this guy by the name of Will Ferrell who did a rendition on Saturday Night Live. And, well, as Will Ferrell does, when he does things, he usually leaves an indelible mark. Sure. But it is one of my favorite songs, and it may have to do something with Reframing Hope, like my reframingness of a 7 on the Enneagram, where, you know, if everything gets bad or gets dark or it's not great, I just think of a few of my favorite things, and things don't seem so bad. So that's what we're going to do, and I think we'll kick off a little bit talking about some of the milestones that we've experienced here, I guess as in the Ben and Travis universe, the multiverse that we're just going to create off the top of our heads here at Christmas.
The original multiverse of madness.
Yes, absolutely. And Ben, we kind of hit a milestone. I'll let you talk about it a little bit because it's kind of one of those things. It's one of the only things in the last few years that you've kind of drug me along. It's usually the other way around. I'm like, hey, this crazy idea we've got, Ben, why don't you join up with me, whether you want to or not? But this is one of those things that you kind of brought me along on.
Yeah, and somewhat, I guess the chain goes backwards even to Will, because Will sort of brought to my attention this crazy thing called half marathons, and just through the process of seeing you guys go through some things, there was a run that was going to be in your name over, or to help y'all raise money over in Fayetteville. From that, I just decided, okay, I can't do that, but I'm going to try to run the half marathon for St. Jude. And thus, that has kind of been born into existence of us doing that year after year. I think Will and I did it the first year together because he mentioned that. We went and did it kind of in the name of Cyprus. And then after that, you jumped on board, I believe, with us. Maybe, is this the third year that you've done it?
Second
year. Okay, so we did 2 years, and then you jumped on with us last year. And this year, we raised money for St. Jude. I wish I had a total of what we've raised in the 4 years. I might have to go back and dig through that. But this year, we definitely reached a milestone. We had a bunch of other teammates come along, and we raised over 23. Wasn't that right? $23,000. Well, our goal was 30, and it was 30,000. We came just shy of that this year, but man, I can't complain about our team raising 23,000. I believe it was 23 300. So I think we went over that mark, and it was awesome. And hopefully next year we'll do even more. So
yeah, absolutely. I know we went over 10 last year, so that's at least 33 in the last 2 years, and looking to add more. As we mentioned, the roster has always got spots to join up, so maybe consider that. New Year's is coming up, January 1. Start training, and you can be with us, and you can even dress up like a movie character and run with us next year.
Yeah, and that might be a great Christmas gift for somebody is to sign them up for that. I'm not sure what that would how that would be taken, but that might be a great one. So
grab a gag gift or something, and they may try to gag you, but if that's the case,
you're helping kids.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's the best part.
So the other thing is we have recently hit a milestone on all of the podcasts. Of course, we have the Helping Healing Humor, we have the Friday Refresh, and of course, you got to have 3, right? If you got 2, with the good old fashioned dislike, we over the last few months have had over 10,000 downloads across all 3. Something that I'll just be honest, I never thought would happen. There are a lot of people who would love to have that number. And we're so very thankful. We know has very little to do with us and much to do about everyone else's patience and mercy and grace. And so hopefully you're gaining as much of it, actually more from it than we are. But man, it's something that I need, and I appreciate not only you, Ben, but Whitney and Will and Lindsay and all of those in Kenya, of course, who allow me to borrow your time from time to time. And then Whitney, we hit a milestone with Reframing Hope. And once again, I think something where I kind of went into it thinking, there are some fun numbers to throw out there, but that's probably going to be out of the realm of possibility. And of course, the Lord goes, "Oh, really? Well, let's see how we can fix that." So, Whitney, how many copies of the book have we sold?
Well, we're over 1,000. We don't have an exact number, but over 1,000.
That's awesome.
I think we'd be safe in even saying 1,200 and climbing up, but we just have been blown away. Of course, all glory to God and all 3 of these wonderful things that we get to participate in. And
yeah.
And so as far as the episode today, we, as Ben mentioned, and we mentioned a couple of times, we like to do a couple of our favorite things about Christmas and or the holidays in general. And I think that I look forward to it because, I'll preface it this way. We had a Christmas program at Riverside, and the theme was a day in the life of an RCA student. And they had all the chapel speakers, and I was one of the chapel speakers. And one of the quotes that I guess I say all the time is, "I want to be where the people are," from
I want to be
Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And it's true. I do sing that a lot because that's kind of what Christmas is to me. It's not really about the gifts anymore, although those are great. But I am so spoiled. People ask me, "What do you want?" And I'm like, not only do I have all my needs, but I have all of my wants, to the point that I have to dig deep. But it really is, to me, about the people that you spend time with.
Yeah.
Of course, Whitney being number one over here. But it is neat, especially now that we have kids, what kind of joy that kind of brings to it, and chaos and stress and anxiety. But it is an interesting thing to kind of have our own thing here where the kids come down, find the gifts, and you see that excitement. So that's definitely one of my favorite things. Anybody want to chime in on their first one, maybe?
Well, and I would say that that's one of mine, of course, being able to spend some time with the kids and do stuff with them. And then when you say I want to be where the people are, there's a part of me during Christmas that wants to be where the people are not. And so I go to the woods. So one of my favorite things is going hunting over the holidays, just getting at least a day or two in there where I'm not expected to be at school. I can kind of get away from the church for a little bit, which most of the time when I'm sitting in a tree, I'm still working on some things in my head or on my phone. But just getting to spend a little bit more time alone in the woods by myself. Every now and then, the kids too, depending on what their schedules allow or what they want to do. But I love to kind of go where the people aren't for a little while. I love being with the family, but I love kind of getting some time alone with me and nature and the Lord. And so I'll do a little bit of that over this break too.
There's always a sermon brewing, right? Sermon brewing up there.
That's what happened the other day. I hunted Friday, and I was listening to the Psalms on my shocks, so I could still hear the woods. And I heard my sermon. David preached my sermon for me, Psalm 63. So I was like, hey, I like that. So I rolled with it.
It's nice when that works out. Whitney?
One of the things that in the last, I guess, like 6 or 7 years that I've started doing and really enjoying around the Christmas season is doing like a special reading plan in my Bible leading up to the Christmas season. And so I've been for, I guess, since 2016 doing an Advent reading plan. This was the one for this year with She Reads Truth. And so it's like a community of women who just read the Bible together every day. And I really like these reading plans. The one that they put out for the Advent season every year, which just, I mean, that word is not one that we're typically familiar with, but it just means arrival. And so it just means celebrating the arrival of Jesus here on earth as a human baby and looking forward to his second arrival here on earth as like the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And so these reading plans, they do both. There's a lot of like scripture and prophecy from the Old Testament, looking forward to the birth of the Messiah. And then there's also a lot of New Testament reading that looks forward to the second coming of Christ. And so it's just I really enjoy doing that. And like Ben was talking about getting alone, I like to do that. I like to do that with my Bible reading plan in the morning with my coffee and do that with the Christmas tree, just the Christmas lights of the Christmas tree on every morning.
And I'll say, and one year we're going to get to our gift giving list. We always think about doing an episode about the best gifts to get people, and I would definitely recommend She Reads Truth that you can do. It comes up once a month. Is it once a month or once a quarter?
Yeah, you can do a subscription box.
And it comes, and there's a He Reads Truth, but I think they started as She Reads Truth, and Whitney's always enjoyed those. I'll also bring up another controversial, is my second favorite thing, is Christmas music. And I've kind of morphed. I've kind of changed. I do still love the goofy ones, especially if I'm leading the songs. Those are much easier to lead than the often high-pitched religious tunes. But man, I have recently really fallen in love with the song "Oh Holy Night." Like,
yeah.
That, especially the verse about oppression, in his name all oppression will cease. The slave is our brother. And man, I just love that song. I love those lyrics because it is so important. It's going to influence my sermon come Sunday. I'm doing Psalm 72 about all the nations and all the kings bowing down to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So I'll make that. I know there's some people out there, and I have those songs where I love to hate them. Last Christmas by Wham. If you follow me on Instagram, every time I hear it through the holidays, everyone else has to hear it. But that's always kind of fun. But Oh Holy Night is my jam on my second favorite thing. Ben, what you got?
I would say our tradition with the kids of watching Christmas movies. So we try to, like, I don't know if it's every night, but I mean, we started back even when school was still in, and we would watch a movie a lot of the nights when we would get a chance to, if we weren't running to a practice or whatever, there for a little bit. But so far, we've watched several. I think we watched Miracle on, what is it, 34th Street? What is the...
Yeah.
Last night, I think I got through 10 minutes before I passed out asleep, but I was tired, but I slept with kids laying all over my lap. until it was over, and then we went to bed. But
You've got cuddlers too at your house?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like the moment you sit on the couch, they're like. So just sitting there with them is cool, even if it is falling asleep. We've watched It's a Wonderful Life already, of course. I think we got Elf under our belt. I want to think that we've done. I don't know if we've done the Santa Claus movies yet, but we usually do those. And I know we've done Rudolph and a couple of others, Frosty, Jack Frost, I think, or Jack. Is it just Jack? The one with Michael Keaton in it?
Yeah, I think it may be just Jack.
Just Jack. And I'd never watched that one, and that was pretty cool. I don't think I'd ever watched it, but I actually liked it pretty well. So we've just kind of, we just run the gauntlet of the Christmas movies.
Nice.
Jackson keeps begging me to watch Die Hard, but we haven't done that yet.
Make sure you watch it on TV.
I know that's the problem is I can't find the place to watch it. So I need to see if it's going to be on TV one night and record it. That's going to be the way to do it.
Whitney, number 2.
I love Christmas music, all types of Christmas music. So I'll give a few of my favorites right now. Mariah Carey is always at the top of the list for anything secular Christmas music. I think she can't be beat. All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's just fun. It puts you in the mood for all things Christmas. I also really love just some Kenny G saxophone Christmas music. Just have that playing in the background, like when I'm cooking dinner. That's one of my favorite things during the Christmas season. And as far as like religious Christmas music, I have a bunch of favorites, but 2 of my new favorites this year are O Come, Emmanuel by For King and Country. It's the best version of that song I've ever heard. Look it up if you haven't heard them do that song. It's really good. And then We the Kingdom has an original Christmas song that I can't get enough of this year, and it's called Light of the World. I'll read you some of the lyrics because they are so good. It says, Light of the world, treasure of heaven, brilliant like the stars in the wintry sky, joy of the Father, reach through the darkness, shine across the earth, and send the shadows to flight. Light of the world, from the beginning, the tragedies of time were no match for your love. From great heights of glory, you saw my story. God, you entered in and became one of us. It goes on, but that's just the first verse, and it's so good. Look that one up, too, if you've never heard it.
And I'll piggyback off of your statement because Kenya wasn't able to join us, but Kenya's 2 favorite things would be, I meant to say this about the movies. I don't watch all of them with her, but she's a Hallmark fan. And they play like every night in the bedroom. At some point, there's one playing. It's either on her phone or up on the TV, but she loves the Hallmark movies, and I'll watch them, even though I can tell her at the very beginning where they're going and what's going to happen and who's going to get caught at the airport or whatever. But she loves those, and she bought Alexa this year. I really think she bought it just so she can go, hey, Alexa, play Christmas music, because that's all that plays in our house right now is Alexa Christmas music most of the time, until the kids say, hey, Alexa, play the It's Corn song. And so then that gets playing in my house for some reason. So that would be it. But I love Christmas. Like there's a few, I'm a weird Christmas person. Like I like the songs that are kind of out there that a lot of people don't talk about. And I didn't even know they were Christmas music. I don't think at first, but like How Many Kings, the song How Many Kings is one it's kind of played during Christmas, but it's been one of my favorite, just talking about how many kings would step down from their throne. And it starts with kind of telling the Christmas story. Of course, Casting Crowns, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, has been one of my favorite for a long time. And then there's a song that it's not terribly historically accurate, I don't think, because it was supposed to be, or it's the place it puts it, but it's the I think it's just called Bellawood by Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
It's about a story, World War One, when there was a Christmas truce. I'm not sure if Bellawood was ever involved in that, but that's the name of the song. And so, but it tells that story, and it's really great. So I like those.
Well, I think that leads perfectly into my third favorite thing. And I try to do this on both Christmas Eve into Christmas. A lot of times it goes into Christmas. Certainly on New Year's Eve, it goes into New Year's Day. But I just try to have that moment where, and you both have talked about getting in the quiet, and mine is the quiet before the storm, kind of sitting there in the living room with just the Christmas light, maybe something on TV or my phone or a book, and just kind of sitting on the couch with all the gifts that we've already snuck in under the tree, and just kind of having that moment to alone. Whitney is more of a, I'm going to get up in the morning and have my alone time, and I'm more of a, hey, I'm going to stay up till everyone's gone to bed or past everyone else's bedtime, and just kind of have that moment to kind of review the year. And one of the cool things is on Instagram, I try to post the books that I read through the year and kind of go back through and look and maybe even recount my top whatever list. But I'd say even if I can have a 3A is the countdowns. I'm the one who does all those on our Facebook page about the countdowns, top 10 blogs, the top 10 episodes. I just love doing that. Kind of gets me geared up for the new year and of course, any big event. So hopefully if you're out there and going, man, that annoys the fire out of me, I beg your forgiveness on that. Ben, did you have a third or a fourth? I don't know if that last comment from you counted as your third or not.
I was trying to think too. I mean, I guess, and we may have already sort of touched on this, but I would think one of my favorite things is just kind of the magic of, and I think maybe your first one was this in some ways, but the magic in the kids' eyes. I'm not just the overly Christmassy type, I guess. I mean, I like it. I like some of this, the stuff, again, all the stuff that we've talked about, but my kids just love it. They love the Elf on the Shelf thing. And I know some people just abhor that. But just seeing their eyes light up to see where he has moved to, or there's two of them now, have moved to, what they're doing. We don't do, ours don't get into as much mischief as some that I've seen online do, but they occasionally will do something. But, seeing that part of it, seeing their eyes light up on Christmas morning, seeing them just talk about the stuff and looking forward to, and that expectation of what's going to happen on Christmas morning, which is a Sunday morning this time. But that expectation that they have, and even thinking about, I wonder if we have that same expectation, not of Santa, but of the return of Christ. You were talking about that with the Advent calendar, not just his first arrival, but his second one. Are we as pumped up and as excited about what's going to happen when he returns? So I just think it's kind of cool watching that earnest expectation of what's going to happen.
Yeah. Whitney, I know it's hard to knock him down to 30, but
yeah. I think that the last thing I would say is kind of like what the first thing that you said is just the visiting family and getting to see people that we haven't seen in a while, and making that time to all be in the same place at the same time, because throughout the rest of the year, it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to get everybody in one place all at the same time. And we make that happen at Christmas every year. And if that's the only time, then it usually happens at that time.
And that's great. And part of the reason we're kind of doing this is next week we're not going to have an episode because, as we've mentioned in this episode, family is so important at this time. And I'm always driving Ben and Will on to the next thing. And so it's probably been nice for you guys not to hear from me quite as often about the podcast. But we are going to take next week off as we go back into, as we start 2023. We'll be back after the new year. But I did want to settle one debate of the holiday season before we close out, unless you guys have some other thing to do. All right. So when does the Christmas holiday begin? As in, when, in your opinion, and this is just opinion and fun, so don't be angry or send us hate mail. When does Christmas start? I mean, does it begin as soon, like midnight on November the 1st? Or does it begin on
November
midnight,
1st.
November the 26th, or whenever it is after Thanksgiving? What's your take on it?
Who's up
I'm
first?
more of I'll get mine. I'm going to talk like Thanksgiving has to be over. Like I love me some Thanksgiving. I think it's definitely Thanksgiving. I think the department stores get it a little too. I mean, we were in Target last night and they had Valentine's Day gift stuff out. Like, come on now, come on. Y'all know me. I'm all about a party and something to celebrate. But at Target, you were a little ahead on the curve there. Let's let the fat guy come down the chimney first. All right, but I'm definitely one of those. It's like after Thanksgiving. Then you can throw everything up.
Yeah, I used to get so aggravated when the stores would open at like 6 o'clock in the evening on Thanksgiving, for Black Friday stuff. They did that for a few years and then they finally were like, okay, that's not cool. We're not going to do that anymore. And I think they've put it at like, 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning again and the day after. I'm perfectly fine with the day after. I just think we need to be thankful for what we have first and then we can start thinking about what we want. Okay, so that's me. Now my wife she's a little different on that. She just loves Christmas. She loves the decorations. I think she watches Hallmark movies all year round, even if they're Christmassy. But mainly she just loves the Christmas ones. She loves the music and she loves the decorations. So, as soon as Halloween decorations go down in her mind, it's time to start putting up Christmas decorations. We don't have Thanksgiving decorations. Nobody's got time for that. So we go from Halloween decorations straight to Christmas decorations. I've always thought, why don't we do it like the movies do? I mean, like on all the movies, they are putting their tree up on like Christmas Eve. Why not just wait till Christmas Eve and put the tree up?
Oh,
That's too much work for one day. Way too much work for one day.
That is the key for that one. I just know if it starts November 1st as a kid, I think that would have killed me.
Oh yeah,
anticipate, like you mentioned,
way too long.
Slow as Christmas is a phrase that exists, I think, before Black Friday. Yeah. So anything before that, and it's too long of a wait for me because I don't have the patience. What say ye, Whitney Creasy?
I have different opinions on different pieces of the puzzle. Oh, so like the
breadcrumb approach is what we're.
Yeah, I guess so. The decor. We don't really have Halloween decorations. We have fall decorations. And so those go up Labor Day weekend and stay up until the Thanksgiving week. And then I always put our tree up the week of Thanksgiving because we go out of town for Thanksgiving, go see family in both places. And when I get back, I definitely want the tree up. So
your tree goes up before Thanksgiving.
It does. It goes up a couple of days before Thanksgiving. We leave, go to on our.
And you'll be lucky if it's still up by the end of Christmas Day.
Yeah, I leave it up through Christmas Day.
Yeah. Usually it's like
quick draw McGraw.
Yeah, it's on. But here's the thing: I don't have to put it up, and I don't have to take it down. So this guy right here ain't complaining. Well, it goes up when she wants it up. So
I get tired of the clutter, and by the time it's all over and there's clutter everywhere, I'm like, this has got to go. So that's why the tree comes down pretty fast. But as far as music goes, it just depends on how I'm feeling that year. Like, if I really need some peppy Mariah Carey.
It's always the Mariah Carey.
The day after Halloween.
It's coming. Just get ready.
If I need her the day after Halloween, we might bust that out. Like I saw a meme this year that made me laugh so hard. Somebody put it out the day before Halloween and it said, everybody just get ready. And it was like this picture of Mariah Carey in a block of ice. And the ice was like, and it said, she's thawing. And I was like, there have been years where I busted out Mariah Carey Christmas the day after Halloween. This year, no, I didn't need Mariah the day after, but
I need some of that Jaws music before I don't usually get it. Usually I'm in the car, it's cranked, and
I'm
all
listening. I'm listening to a TED talk yesterday on my way to Huntsville to meet with SWAT, and or it's on TED Radio, and it's this guy talking about his favorite talks, and so he plays this one of this Nigerian woman speaking, and she says, the problem with thinking everybody has one story from one place, and she said she had this roommate when she moved to America who was like, surprised that they had all the things that we have here. And she said she was she said, well, I'd love to hear some of your tribal music. Like, what's your favorite music? And so she said she was shocked and her, jaw hit the floor when I started playing Mariah Carey. So, she's like, we have all the things that you have here, including Mariah Carey. So you would probably enjoy that talk.
Yeah. And then I always start my Advent reading plan. That starts 4 Sundays before Christmas Eve. So there you go. That's the same every year. That's
breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumb approach. There you have it, folks. The debate rages on. I'm sure it's a debate that will last for all of the time the world is spinning. But we sure do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. If you're in our Facebook group, which we encourage you to do that, facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis. Feel free to comment on the post, either the video or the audio, and let us know when Christmas decorations go up for you. And maybe even if you're, brave, you can tell us when they actually come down, because that might actually be the biggest debate of all. But thanks again, guys, for listening, and we will see you when it is 2023, Lord willing. And we look forward to another big year.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.